Quinn! Oh, thank the stars you're alive. Wait, what has happened to you? You're bleeding, and heavily. Quinton, get in here! You're gonna be okay, Quinn. Listen to me. You're gonna be okay. Quinton is here and he's gonna patch you up good, and then we're gonna get the news that the commander has succeeded, and we'll open up that cafe in Shanghai, just like you said we would. Don't go. Not after coming this far. Quinn?
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the final chapter of Humanity Never Dies. In the last episode, the Avenger was shot down by an Advent ship, leading to a hurried defense of our troops and staff. Despite overwhelming numbers, as well as the appearance of the Berserker Queen, we stayed the enemy for long enough to allow for Floyd to locate the spike, and for the whole team to move out, only suffering minor injuries. Once back on the Avenger, the Chiefs of Operations gathered to discuss the fatal strike. With the mission parameters and targets located, they believed we were ready to unleash the final assault. We were interrupted by the Councillor, who had uncovered that Advent was going through with the final stages of Avatar, and that only by sending a team to intercept the broadcast could we foil their plans and distract them long enough for the final assault to work. Fang, Ahmed and Mises gladly volunteered for the duty, landing and making short work of the first few waves before being overwhelmed by the remaining forces. Despite this, and their injuries, they made it to the terminal in time, allowing us to launch the final offensive.
There. I've infused this material with the entirety of our viable Elder DNA. We won't get another chance at this.
Final connection is set. Power levels adequate. One more look at the buffer.
Watch you go over this thing 50 times. Take a breath.
We're ready.
Synthesis nearing completion. Now, Lily!
Initiating network connection.
Give them hell.
Gate is primed and ready, sir.
Patch me through. All right, people. The world got its wake-up call. And now they know the truth. Advent is a lie. And their time is up. They've got a full-fledged war on their hands now. While the aliens struggle to contain our world, we're gonna make a move on theirs. It won't be easy. But you're used to that. You did what was needed. You never gave up the fight. You are Xcom. And you're gonna end this. Humanity is counting on us, people. Good luck, Commander.
So we begin our final assault. We have McEwen, Lau, Farlogo, Kilby, Engin and Vemo, along with the commander, who has his own avatar, ready to assault the final base. So the aim of this mission is very simple. Commander must survive, and we must neutralize all enemy targets. That's exactly what we're going to do. by sending Kilby up front. We're going to see if we can spy any enemies, however there aren't any. Kilby is the only one who is currently concealed, because you do not start with concealment on this mission, which isn't that much of a rough thing, but it's just going to mean that we're going to be using Kilby to do a bunch of scouting at the start of this mission. And then we're going to fan out the rest of our operatives into places where they can help themselves, locate the enemy, and also then covering each other's fire. I'm going to split our squad into 2 sections. This is probably the only time this mission that I'm going to do that, because it is very, very dangerous to do that, especially as we get further into this mission. There's a lot of enemies that are going to show up, as you can expect from a final mission. Now, the commander's avatar is an incredibly strong operative. He has part psionic weapons and a weird gun thing. Oh, here we go. Starlog and Andromedon along with 2 codexes. And McEwen is going to shoot at them with her sniper rifle, missing but dealing 3 damage and cloning the codex. And that's going to leave the rest of them to move forward to try and stop us. As I was saying, the commander's avatar is a very strong psionic presence. He does also have a normal regular weapon, and you'll see how powerful he is later on. Farlogo and Lau both missing the Andromedon as it rushes towards us, but we do get holo-targeting on it. I don't know whether or not that will continue. Well, the Codex then gets a psionic bomb onto us, so we got 4 weapons disabled. So we're going to have to deal with that as well. So, Kilby is actually still concealed, so we're going to have to deal with that somehow. He does have an EMP bomb, which I could throw off. What I'm going to do first, though, is I'm going to move out of range so that I can get myself into a better position, because obviously if I throw an EMP bomb, he will be stuck there and take the psionic damage. So he's going to be spotted, so that's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's probably better that he's not continuously concealed, although he doesn't get his bonuses from that. So, for whatever reason, the Andromedon is immune to that, and I keep forgetting that that's the case, but whatever. So we're just going to have to deal with it instead. We're going to shoot it with McEwen, who will miss and only deal 1 damage, so it's not looking so good for us so far. We've lost a lot of potential damage from misses. So what we're going to do is we've got the potential to do a Void Rift, which I think is exactly what Engen's going to do. And that's exactly what he's going to do. So that will kill off the Codex as well as damage the Andromedon. Although it only does 3 damage, it does then have an Insanity check. We'll see what happens to it. An additional 7 damage and a Rupture, which is really good. And it seems to have panicked as well. So incredibly good fortune for us, considering the fact that we missed a bunch. It then shoots at the Codex, although it does miss that shot. It was still a really good turn for us there. Very good move from Engen to be able to do that. And the panicking definitely saves us from whatever's just happened in the first section of this mission. I'm going to move Emo up and around. He's probably actually going to slash the Codex just for the guaranteed hit. Does manage to find a location behind the Codex, which is exactly where he's going to go. Guarantee the kill on that. So Yoshi also gets a free movement from there, so he's just going to reload and then move on to the Commander's Avatar. Commander's Avatar is going to move up into cover, and then he's going to be able to use one of his psionic powers. Then he's going to be using Null Lance. Sadly, because of the positioning, he won't be able to get both of them, so instead he's going to go for the guaranteed kill on the Codex. The Null Lance dealing a large amount of damage, 11. I believe that the commander actually has better, or I should say stronger, psionic powers than Engen will, in the sense that it does more damage for the similar powers, although Engen does have a larger variety of powers, which is always nice, and he has a thing. Like, for example, he managed to get the Rupture on the Andromedon, whereas the commander doesn't get that ability, which is nice. At the end of the turn then, we kind of just wait for the aliens to do their activity. Don't really see much activity going on, so Kilby's just going to reload his Asherai, and then he should be able to slash from where he is, which is exactly what he's going to do. That will ignore the armor completely and kill the Andromedon, leaving him back as a shell, which will be nice and easy for us to deal with. We also don't spot any additional enemies, which is really nice for us, so it means that we don't have to deal with it or any additional persons. Lau then going to put a shot into the Andromedon, which deals 16 damage with the blue screen rounds, and then McEwen's just going to finish it off with a sniper shot. killing it outright in front of Kilby. So we've dealt with our first wave. That was a pretty easy first wave, 2 Codexes and a Andromedon, although it could have gone absolutely roughly for us had we not dealt with that the way it has, and had Engin's panic not occurred. So that being said, we move on with the rest of our troops. We've actually got quite a few suffering willpower. So Farloga, as you can see, has quite a low will bar compared to the rest of them, and that's because she hasn't rested as much as the others. So we're going to hope that we don't get the same as the last mission with Fang, where she panicked basically at any point when we took damage and such. Hopefully Farloga will be able to keep her cool and will be able to get through this without any damage of that kind. As the alien activity concludes, we see that there aren't any additional enemies around there, so we're just going to move up with Kilby. And that's when we spot our next lot, which seems to be a whole lot of chrysalids and a gatekeeper. That's a lot of chrysalids. Luckily for us, they've all banded together, which allows us then to use a beautiful blaster bomb to really screw them all over. Oh my god, that's a beautiful shot. I'm trying to get as many of them as possible. Oh, that's beautiful to see, don't you think? This is going to be such an explosion. It's also going to really ravage up the gatekeeper, going to shred out lots of armor. I don't think it actually kills a bunch of them, but it definitely does a lot of damage, which is exactly what we want at this stage. Now then going to move up to a position where she can then shoot for the next turn and see the damage that she's caused. What would be really good there is a shredder attack. That would be really good. We're actually going to do an Icarus jump with McEwen. That will allow her to get herself into a beautiful position to target any enemies once she's reloaded. It also, once again, I'm going to keep saying this because of how ridiculously overpowered this suit arm armor is, doesn't cost any actions to do that, and also doesn't cost any actions to then shoot. Or to reload, I should say. It costs half an action to shoot. It does do 2 damages, 2 shreds, sorry, and then 7 damage to the gatekeeper, so it's not going too well. And then we can use the commander to do what's called a dimensional rift, which is basically a better void rift, which does an excessive amount of damage. What I could have done with the commander is moving a bit forward and then done some shooting. Moving a bit forward to target and get a bit more of them. Sadly, didn't manage to do that, but I don't think that's going to matter at this point, as Kilby's going to shoot at the gatekeeper, missing, however, only dealing 3 damage. But I feel like the amount of damage that is taken, I don't think it matters that much. What we can do instead is we've got a null lance from Engin, who's going to fire at and kill the chrysalid through 2 walls, and through Venmo, apparently, dealing 13 damage with his null lance. And then Farloga is going to put the finishing touch to the gatekeeper, just destroying it outright, which causes a large explosion and leaves Femo basically useless where he is. So he's just going to move up, join Kilby up in this room, go into Overwatch, leaving only the alien activity left to go through. So far so good. We've not taken any damages at all, although it was close. We've also done a whole lot of damage. There's the second half of the dimensional rift, as you can see, ridiculously overpowered. But to be fair, there's a lot of enemies, and as you've seen, we've had a small party of 3, a very large party of, I think that was about 7 chrysalids and 1 gatekeeper, and spoilers, it's going to be more or less the same with a lot of enemies coming our way. So Dimensional Rift definitely going to be something that we're going to utilise to the most of our advantage to be able to get through these enemies without taking damages, or at least as little damage as possible before we get to the final chamber. Going to move our troops around. We're going to go and reload where we can, or go into Overwatch where we cannot, or don't need to I should say, and move up the minority of our troops, just because after this room there's going to be a bunch of enemies which we obviously want to deal with as quickly and efficiently as possible without leaving too many of our troops before or behind, especially since in that fight there we had to use one of our Icarus jumps, which we kind of want to save. Using it this early wasn't really the best of options. We actually spot a bunch of Vipers. Looks like it's going to be the next enemy. But yeah, we want to keep all of our troops together so that we can utilise their abilities to the best of their abilities. Kilby missing his shot there against the Viper, dealing 3 damage from that. And McEwen going to double tap it to make sure that it dies, killing it outright. So 1 Viper down, 3 to go. Next we have Engin. He's going to have to go around. He doesn't really have access to a lot of things. He could use something like just a standard Soulfire, would be good. 7 to 9 damage along with an additional tap. So we'll see what happens there. fires off, does a low 6 damage. We're going to see, does he get a second shot off? No, he doesn't. There is only a percentage chance of an additional rupture or something from happening, but it's okay because Farlogo's going to kill it with the miss. Vemo's got, I'm looking around to see if I can grapple towards the enemy, but it doesn't look like that's the case, so instead I'm just going to have to run around and figure out what I can do. I could use something like Manual Override or the Battle Lord, which will give an additional action to one of my colleagues, but that's not what I decide to do. Farlogo's already moved, so the commander is kind of out of position at this point, and it's not looking too good, so just going to have to go into Overwatch, and what's basically probably going to happen is that we're going to have to let the Vipers actually come towards us, and hopefully we'll be able to deal with them. Some Saturation Fire, which may be able to take out that, but I decided not to go for it. I could go for Advanced Teamwork, which I think is exactly what I choose to do, to allow McEwen to get another shot off, which pretty much will guarantee the kill of a Viper if she does enough damage. And luckily for us, she doesn't, because of the dodge. She probably could have done. What is lucky is that we get a hair trigger, which allows us to do another free reload, and then put this Viper out. We're actually going to shoot the other Viper. I don't know whether or not that's a good idea. Well, turns out it is, because it does enough damage to kill it outright, leaving only one Viper with 2 HP left, and it's going to flee towards its allies. So we know that there's a bunch more of aliens in that direction, as it has fled in that direction. I choose to move Kilby up. Reason why is because I'm trying to see if I can see the Viper, because I think it's safe enough to dash all of my troops towards this kind of dip, and we're going to get ourselves into position for the next onslaught of enemies, which will include a Viper and numerous unknowns. While the rest of the team is just going to locate themselves down here into this dip, which kind of made you a bit of a breachhead, which we'll be able to defend an assault from, with a nice bit of half cover or full cover for a few of our operatives. Commander, the last one together. I think I may have actually missed out Lao. Where is she? Is she back there? Yeah, she is. No one should miss out Lao. But yeah, she's running off. But yes, yeah, so we've got Kilby up front and then the rest of them slowly behind. What's bad is if a mech comes around, just blasts us, but I don't think that's going to happen because we haven't seen any enemies. Although it would be devastating, for sure, but I feel like I haven't made a mistake in this occasion. Kilby going to move up then from where he is. We've got ourselves a little toxic room. I don't want to move too far up, and I feel like, yeah, if a better position to do would be to move all of our troops up to this room before assaulting through with Kilby, so we can see the enemies and ensure that there aren't that many, or if there are, that we can all get up and make damages. I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing with Emma. Oh, I see. I was trying to see if I could grapple up there, but apparently that's not going to be an option, so instead he's just going to dash up into this position. Luckily for us, doesn't spot any additional enemies, so we can move up, not imperviously, but at least cautiously into the room. I choose not to move too far forward into the room. We're not going to move further than Vermo for that reason, just because we don't particularly want to cause any of the enemies to show themselves. I then move them up around just to see what we're doing in terms of the area of combat, but it seems that there's not that much of a place on the left hand side, and the right hand side's too far away for us to really care about. Going to put McEwen into Overwatch, and Engen's going to move a little bit closer. Lucky for us, not spotting any additional enemies and allowing the alien activity to go unperturbed. So after the alien activity, we just carry on with ourselves. There's a bit of glass crashing or something, but we can move up with Kilby. Hopefully that'll let the enemies know that we're here. However, it does not, which means that we can continue moving forward. I kind of want to engage the enemy. I want to start the engagement, and that's exactly what happens there. We actually see it's a lot of enemies, including the Viper. We have a bunch of Codexes and an Archon as well. Kilby putting an amazing shot from his Overwatch into that Archon, who just does a very slow hit back. So we've got Domination of potential as well as a Void Rift. Seems to be 2 Archons and 4 Codexes in this case. So we'll see what happens. We've got Dimensional Rift potential, which is definitely much more welcome to us, and something that we definitely want to do. We want to hit as many of them as possible with that. Try and hit. It's got such a wide, like, it's such a ridiculously powerful attack. That's exactly what we're going to do, because that one will hit the Viper. It won't hit the other Archon. This should hit as many of them as possible. In 3 Codexes, 2 Archons, and 1 Viper. Taking out the Viper, taking out the Archon. and seriously harming the rest of them. Got a bunch of cloning, however, that does happen because we did hit 3 codexes and didn't kill them. So that's going to be a rough one. They will be going around the flank as well, which is also really rough because we chose to ignore that flank with the assumption that there would be no enemies there. However, they've now spawned there. But the commander, still, a whole lot of damage, definitely worth the damages that we did do with a potential null lance then that we could do over there. I'm just trying to figure out what should I do with the commander. Can't really move from where he is, although he does have a shot at that, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Doing another null lance there, striking at the codex, which will terminate its existence and clear our flank. We've left a lot of them at 1 hit points because of the cloning, really, but there's not really much that we can do with that. Lau's going to go around the side, smash a window as she does so, because she doesn't give a crap. And then she's got the potential for saturation fire. Sadly, that's not really that many options there. Could use hail of bullets, or she could just use an explosive, which may be worth it, although she can only hit one of them. But hitting one of them is better than none of them. So what she's going to do is fire nothing, apparently. What's she going to do? 62%. I mean, a hail of bullets will guarantee the kill. If she misses, she would get 3 damage off anyway. So I'm not entirely sure why he decided to do that. 15 damage done. Bit an overkill, but guaranteed the kill, which is definitely necessary. Got a lightning hands ability at the codex, which we are going to do with McEwen, which will, well, codex will dodge, but that won't be enough to kill it. That will be enough to kill it, I should say. And then a shot at the other codex, dealing 9 damage, which will allow it to clone. Goes right next to Vermo, which is a very dangerous place for it to be. Next we have Engen. Engen has the Void Rift, which he can do against 2 of the codexes, which is exactly what he's going to do. And that will kill both of them, ridding us of their evilness. And then Farlogo's got a shot at that codex, which he's going to do, killing that codex, who dodged as well. Man, these codexes got very high dodge stats because of the amount of dodges happening. Got a Justice ability with Vermo. He's actually going to move up before he does so to give himself an even better shot. And there's actually another codex over there as well. Using Justice, 85% chance to get that codex, which is quite high enough definitely. So he's going to do that, pull the codex towards him and slash it to death. Without having been done, we've got the alien activity now. The Archon's going to come towards us and attempt a Blazing Pinions, which is going to target a bunch of our troops. It does, however, put the Archon out of, sort of, for one turn it doesn't do anything, which is always nice. This codex, however, does manage to teleport besides our lines, and it's probably going to do a sonic bomb. Yeah, that's what I expected it to do. So overall, still pretty good. We're not taking any damages, and that's exactly what I want. I guess that's one of the bonuses of going against an Archon and a codex. Dimensional Rift then exploding. And we're just going to continue the attack. We're going to slash the codex with Kilby. That will get him out of range of the Blazing Pinions, as well as guarantee us safety from this codex. Then we have McEwen, who's going to go around the side. She's going to be careful because of the rift that's around. And actually that panics the Archon, so I'm not entirely sure what he's going to do with the rest of his turn. But apparently move away. She's just going to go into the Long Watch. Then with Engen, what we're going to do is we're going to move him around the side, and we are going to try and do a mind control, I believe. Now would be a really good time to use mind control, mate. Oh no. Oh yes. There we go. That's exactly what we want. 84% chance to mind control the Archon, who is on full health. So that's a really good capture, and we do actually successfully manage to get it. So the Archon is now on our side. And we don't have to worry about it at all. And he's also no longer panicked, so I'm sure he's very happy about that. And that allows us then to just dash through the enemy terrain, which is going to be pinioned out in a moment, and just focus on the next part of the mission and the next set of buildings, having cleared another large wave of enemies. Commander's avatar then joining next to Farlogo. He's going to go into Overwatch. We then got Lao around the side. She's used up a lot of her ammunition, so she's just going to reload where she is, and I think then she's going to move over to the side just to continue moving along with the rest of the party. She's actually going to move a bit closer to them. Pinions come down, don't really do that much damage, and then the Codex's Sonic Bomb also ceases. Overall, still pretty good. We still haven't taken any damage, which is perfect, and we've actually got an Archon on our side as well, so we've increased our numbers by 1. Going to reload with a bunch of our dudes as the rest of the operatives start to make their way towards us. We still got the Archon to move all the way through. Going to dash him as far as he can go to see if there's any enemies around, which I'm sure that there won't be at this point. They'll probably be behind the next building, and the rest of the team is going to move up to that position so that they can continue to stay in a cohesive formation and prepare for the next wave. He'll be moving up then, and while dashing up, so we can't really do anything else, as well as McEwen moving closer as well. We've got ourselves a bit of a front liner and then a bit of a rear line as well, with Endgen not really having a lot of positions he can go to get himself into cover, so he's just going to have to go towards the commander so that he can get himself into position to shoot at anything, but also so that he can keep them safe and not have no cover, because you never know what might happen in these games at this level. We've got this annoying thing again where we're one square off being able to go into full cover, so we're just going to dash up with Kilby, do not spy any enemies, which allows us then to move up into positions with the rest of our team. I'm not going to move too far with our Archon, just because I don't want to really see if there's any enemies around. Doesn't seem to be at the moment, so we're just going to go into Overwatch with pretty much everybody as we move up and continue to move up, with Lau staying close enough to McEwen, and the rest of them are going to dash up towards where Kilby is. No? Are we going to waste a whole turn doing that? Yeah, I didn't think so. Engen moving up then towards and next to Kilby. Farlogo doing a similar thing, as will Vemo and the commander's avatar. It's a pretty good shape overall. The wheel bars are getting slightly lower, but what can you do? Commander actually doesn't have a wheel bar, I've just seen. That's interesting. Although you would assume so, the commander being the most overpowered person in the entire game, that nothing wrong would happen. So next we get up the Archon. He's got the ability to just move up. He's got, similar to the Icarus armor, he can just like sort of fly up at any point, so he's going to do exactly that. Doesn't spy any enemies, so he's just going to go around the side, and that's where we start spy enemies. Got ourselves a two sectopods. Okay, 2 sectopods and some enemy Cs and a bunch of mutons. Looks like we've uncovered 2 groups of enemies. That's real bad. That's real bad. 4 mutons, 2 sectopods, 2 heavy mechs, 8 enemies in total. It's okay because we're only showing 1 Archon. So how are we going to deal with this? Well, let us see exactly what we need to do. So the team is basically safe for now, and we can just sort of wait for them to come towards us. But if I can get some shots in now, that would not be a bad thing. Although Lau doesn't have the arc to be able to lob a grenade over. I lie, she actually does. That would be a bit of a weird bounce, but it's definitely going to hit the sectopod, which is exactly what we want to do. That will shred its armor, as well as just take out a bit of damage from it. Make it easier for everyone else to attack it, which will be nice. That having been done, we can then move with the rest of our operatives. So we've got the commander who can go up. That will give him a good amount of vision on the enemy, as well as, since he's got the dimensional rift active, he's going to be able to hit a bunch of them. And here I can hit 5 of them, including the 2 sectopods, 2 mechs, and 1 of the mutons. Does a whole lot of damage, although it doesn't kill anyone. And unlike Engen, he doesn't get the additional rupture chances, which is a bit upsetting, but also, what can you choose? There's some potential to go for a slash with Kilby. I choose not to, which, thinking about it, is probably a good idea, because I feel like a slash on a sectopod when there's several sectopods around is a bad choice, and we've just uncovered a whole more enemies, 4 stun lancers around the side, so we are in it in the long haul. This is not going great. Do manage to shred this sectopod's armor down to 0, as well as doing 13 damage in total, leaving on a very small amount of health left, which hopefully we'll be able to kill with McEwen, but I'm not 100% certain if that'll be available. Does actually manage to do enough damage to make it explode. So that's 1 sectopod down. That's a very large amount of enemies that we've taken care of, or at least one of the most devilish enemies that we can take care of. Got a Void Lance that we're going to be doing there, which will hit only 1, I believe, rather than the both. Yeah, it just hits one. I don't think when I actually played, I actually saw that it would only hit one, but I just saw it just now that there is a square that it was away from. So we have to utilize the majority of our troops then to take care of the stun lancers. They are by far the most dangerous enemy at the moment, especially since they can actually see us, whereas the sectopods, mechs, and the mutons currently aren't really in great vision for us, so it's not too bad. Vemo going to go up on top of the roof there and then move himself into a position where he can take care of as many of the enemies as possible. Vision on this guy, very low amount of chance that it hits, which is a bit irritating. Could do a whiplash for 50, it's not really worth it though, so he's just going to go for a 53% chance to shoot, which misses. I wasn't really expecting it to hit, to be fair. In the ensuing alien go, a muton is going to suppress the commander, then another one is going to shoot at our Archon. Archon's going to take a lot of fire in this, which is good because it means that we're not taking it ourselves. Two of the mutons miss the Archon there. My Archon does have a superior amount of defense, plus the fact that he's higher up than the enemies means he's got a whole lot of defense, which is going to be very difficult for the mutons to get through. This sectopod is going to raise himself up and then fire at the Archon, doing a critical 14 damage with his first shot. And with his next shot, going to, well, he's not going to use his next shot, he's just going to rush forwards, do a bit of damage, and then arm his Wrath Cannon, which hopefully won't go off, but if it does, it's going to do a whole lot of damage. First mech is going to go down. What's he going to do there? Oh, he's actually going to fire off his missiles down to Vemo, who is going to crash down and take some damage from the fall, which is not great. And this mech is going to get itself over to the side here and do a bit of a dash. So sadly for us, the Dimensional Rift only going to hit like a few enemies. Still got the stun lancers to go around. They're going to actually retreat and get themselves into a position closer to their allies, probably because they feel like they're probably getting overwhelmed from where they are, which is not wrong. Looks like a muton was killed by the Dimensional Rift, which is fantastic. Get an additional hit over there. McEwen going to use her final Icarus jump to get herself into a good position around the enemy. It's kind of dangerous, but we need her up, and when she's up there she can do a whole lot of damage, especially since I've now unlocked Fanfire with her. So Lightning Hands to start with, going to shoot at the sectopod, or are we? Could kill out a heavy mech. Looks like I'm trying to go for the muton that is, oh yes, are we? Yeah, I think we're going for the muton that's suppressed. We actually missed, which is awful, but we can Fanfire now. Fanfire is absolutely insane. Oh no, I've pressed the wrong button. It's not Fanfire that I want to do. Fanfire is actually Face Off that I want to do, which I can do now. And it kills the sectopod after doing Fanfire. Kills the muton that was suppressing, does a whole lot of damage in general. I love just Face Off and Fanfire are both amazing. Fanfire does 3 shots at the same target, only a half action, so that's good. That's why we managed to take out the sectopod there, and then Face Off 1 shot against all enemies within range, which is just insane. You have a possibility of using Fuse, although in this case there's not a lot of enemies around, so it's kind of pointless to use Fuse, so we could just use normal Soulfire. Fuse is not terrible though. Could use Insanity if we want, or just shoot at it, which I think is exactly what we're going to go for. Shooting the stun lancer there, which kills him off with a 14 critical hit there. Fantastic effort there from Engen. I'm still reeling from McEwen shots with the pistol. Just goes to show how amazing the gunslinger is, especially with Darklaw. Darklaw is just a stupid weapon. Farlago there taking out the mech, leaving Vemo to go against the stun lancer. He's going to go for a slash attack, which should be enough to kill the stun lancer, although he may be left on 1 HP. Looks like he is not, leaving Vemo to actually get another shot now, which will kill this mech. 2 enemies killed in the same turn with Vemo. We've only got 2 mutons left, I believe, from the enemies. So the commander's avatar is going to go around, it's got a 90% chance to hit, which luckily for us does manage to kill. And finally the Archon, who's going to go around the side to get himself a little flanking shot. And then he's going to shoot at it with its beam weapon. And that's actually going to be the end for this part of the mission.
Yes, I feel it too, Commander. The weave is rippling with their energy. Squad, be careful. Well, more so than normal. This is the time, together, where humanity finally comes out of the darkness and we chase down the Elders, once and for all.
So we start this section of the mission by moving all of our troops over to the right hand side of the map. Main objectives for this section is to destroy the avatars. So we need to allow our commander's avatar to continually survive, but we just need to kill the enemy avatars. So that's exactly what we're going to get up and do. I want to, just before we get into this mission, apologise for the audio levels. There will be several audio bits that may seem weird to you where I've had to go through it to make sure that the audio is not too loud or too quiet. So if that does bother you, then I apologise. As you should know by the last few episodes, that's really starting to get on my nerves, is the audio quality in terms of the audio levels being completely different everywhere. Regardless, alien activity now, there's no activity as it stands, so we're going to move up with Kilby to see if we can uncover any of the enemies, which we actually do straight away, with 2 Archons and a Avatar, who's then going to move up to us. With Kilby then we're going to be able to attack with one of them. We're going to go for the Archon, 55%, that's above the 50% sort of limit. Fires and deals 15 damage to him, which is perfect with the talent rounds, with a beautiful critical hit there. McEwen, oh no, we're going to go with a null lance for the commander's avatar. We're going to try and hit the enemy avatar as well as the Archon if we're able to, so we're going to move forward to be able to do that. As you can see, the amount of avatars we need to destroy is 3, so we should be able to do that willy-nilly. And strike it down with a null lance, only doing 9 damage to the enemy avatar but killing the Archon, which is perfect. Now once again, the avatars can teleport once they're hit. This time it teleports very close to us, which is great indeed. We'll be able to really strike it down with something. Farlago being able to go around the side, she's going to get herself, or attempt to get herself, a flanking shot. Yeah, didn't you see that that was a dash? Perfect. Alright, apparently I didn't see that that was a dash, so I'm just going to use Justice on the avatar, which actually works. So that's going to go around, going to slash at the avatar, dealing 6 damage as well as making it burn. Probably not the best action to use, if I'm honest. It actually goes really far away, which is frustrating. Although he will get an additional chance later on, 45% chance to use Whiplash. He's not going to use it yet. Instead we're going to get McEwen to do something with 96% chance to hit. That should be more than enough to enable her to hit him. Does so for 6 damage, shredding his armor down, and then he teleports back around the side over there and going to be able to move around the side over here, hopefully going to be able to get a chance to shoot at, but doesn't see the avatar, which is frustrating. Instead he's going to just use Void Rift, which is a very cheaty and cheeky way to deal damage. That's exactly what he's going to do. Void Rifting around to deal damage to the avatar, dealing a paltry 4 damage. However, he may be able to get a secondary attack, which he definitely does, which hopefully will deal additional damage as well as rupture the target. However, he misses, which is very annoying. Mind Control being resisting, we got another teleport which puts him around the side over there, which sadly Vemo cannot do much with, but Lau may be able to use her abilities to be able to do so, especially if she's going to be using Hail of Bullets. With a 100% chance to hit, that should be more than enough to take out the avatar in 1 turn, killing it outright and leaving only 2 avatars left for us to kill. Vemo going to just go into Overwatch, and then the gates start to uncover. Got enemies, 3 sectoids. Not the most dangerous of enemies, but they are psionic energy enemies, which is very frustrating for us if they start to get their psionic powers off, especially since they're quite far away from all of us. Archon coming through, we've got Farlago who's going to deal 11 damage from her Overwatch. As the Archon comes close, he's then going to go into Battle Frenzy and try and do Blazing Pinions. For whatever reason, Vemo doesn't get his Overwatch shot off, which is kind of frustrating. Oh, there we go. Does manage to get it, actually kills the Archon straight up, so it looks like the Blazing Pinions does go off, but at least the Archon does die before that. Another 3 sectoids come from a part of the map. For whatever reason, the music decides to just have a little dull tone, probably because there's no enemies in vision, but we will need to go towards them. Kilby then not actually seeing any enemies, so he's going to go into run and gun, go around the side to spot those sectoids and be able to start targeting them. He fires off, dealing 3 damage with his miss, sadly. That shouldn't be too much of a problem, and then McEwen's going to go around the side there. She still will be able to get shot off because the sniper rifle is ridiculous. 97% chance to take out that sectoid, shoots down the corridor, killing it with 10 damage, very easily done from McEwen. Engen then going to go around the side so that he doesn't get in range of those pinions. He's going to attempt to soul fire on the sectoid. He only needs to deal 5 damage to kill it, which it should be able to do with just a normal soul fire. Deals 7 damage, which is more than enough to take out that sectoid on that side. Farlogo going next, then she's going to go and get herself into full cover, which should put her in enough distance to take out this sectoid. 80% chance to hit, managing to do so with a critical hit. 13 damage done. And that leaves the rest of our troops to move around the side. We're going to very much stay on the left hand side of the map for the remainder of this mission, or at least for as long as we can do so. Just because it means the enemies have to come towards us, we can keep ourselves a defensive formation, stick close together, and hopefully everything should be fine. At the end of the turn we have another appearance. This time an avatar actually does appear from over there. Pinions come down, doing a bunch of damage. We've got 2 spectres and 2 priests along with the avatar, so that is a dangerous formation, definitely nothing to be trifled with, and we're going to have to be careful not to get sucked into their shenanigans. They're also pretty far away, so they're going to take at least 1 or 2 turns to get all the way through to where we are if they're going to go on the offensive. We'll have to make sure that that is the case so that we can pick them off one by one rather than deal with them all together. There will be some additional reinforcements, however, and we'll see exactly what comes through as the next portal opens up. Looks like it's going to be 3 additional sectoids, so a bunch of psionic enemies looks like is what the avatar has as a bodyguard, so we're definitely going to be aware of ourselves. We do, however, have a counter psionic energy in the form of Engen, who is very strong against psionics now. Plus McEwen can just shoot them down and Kilby can just slash them down, but we don't particularly want to get to that point, do we? We want to rather kill them from ranged. Commander get himself into a position over to the side. There is a rift that you could potentially do, but you can only do it in places where there is vision. Not necessarily where he has vision, but where there is vision, and sadly over there is no vision. Engen going to move around the side there, get himself into a nice full cover position. Farlogo then going to dash next to Kilby. That will increase her will slightly, as they are bond mates, and then Vemo is going to go next to the commander's avatar. So we've taken ourselves pretty defensive positions, knowing exactly where the enemy is going to come from. The only issue is if they come from behind, it might be a bit more dangerous. One of the sectoids dashes through, the commander misses it. Kilby does manage to get a shot off, as does Farlogo, both of them missing but dealing 3 damage, and then Lau doing the final kill. Misses also, but there's additional 3 damage from the equipment. This sectoid looks around, he's actually going to shoot at, I think that was the commander's avatar, but it misses. Don't think with that range it would have hit anyway, but you can never be too sure. Kilby is going to move up to try and get as much vision as possible from where he is, get himself also into full cover in that process. Does have a shot 50% on the commander's avatar, probably not the best thing to go for, but it does open him up for us to shoot with the likes of McEwen, who's going to do a Deadeye shot for 98% chance to hit. Does hit, remove all the armor, however it is dodged, so only a partial amount of damage. The commander's avatar they're going over to the left hand side, which puts him directly into the range of a Null Lance from Engen, which is going to be fantastic for us, as Engen goes and strikes at the enemy avatar for the maximum 11 damage, without crit of course. I'm not entirely sure his psionic powers can crit. Either way, the commander's avatar, not the commander's avatar, just a normal avatar, then goes around the side, which is not good for him because it leaves him very vulnerable to enemy fire. Got a dimensional rift over there that can be done. Do I really want to cast that? It's probably not the best thing to do. We can mind control, however, which is exactly what we're going to go for 100% chance to mind control that sectoid. Now, the commander's avatar can mind control every 5 turns, which is insane, but I believe you can only control 1 enemy at a time. With this mind control, it means that we have vision on all that sector of the area, as well as ridding us of one enemy and potentially multiple ones. So, with that done, Lau's going to shoot at the commander's avatar, not the commander's, just normal avatar. Jesus Christ, that's the second time I do that problem. Only dealing dealing quite a bit of damage actually, making it teleport quite far away and put him straight into Kilby's line of fire. Or fire logos, if that's what we choose to go for, which is exactly what we're going to choose to go for. 75% chance to hit. Will it be enough? Yes, it will, even despite the dodge. So, 2 avatars down, 1 to go. It's not yet on the field, so we're just going to have to eat our way through the enemies. We're going to see what we can do with Vemo. I feel like Vemo hasn't really been key in this so far. That doesn't mean it won't be in the future. Commander's avatar. Oh my god, I've done it again. Normal avatar along with 2 mutons, 2 berserkers is going to move forward. As we see a muton chest over here, but it's definitely an avatar. He's actually behind us. Vemo going to Overwatch there, missing with his Overwatch. But at least we know where the enemies are, and those are some pretty brutal enemies for sure. But we'll be able to take them out. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. So during the alien turn, the sectoid goes around the side, shoots at our mind-controlled sectoid, dealing 6 damage. Then an Advent Priest is going to go around the side, and he's going to Holy Warrior, for whatever reason, not shoot at our sectoid, instead dealing Holy Warrior to the friendly sectoid, which is going to increase its health and shield points or something. I can't remember what it does. Other Advent Priest going to go around the side. This one's going to cast Stasis on our sectoid, so that removes the mind control, I believe. Yeah, it removes the mind control, also leaves it in stasis, so that's good from multiple points of views. And then the remaining Spectre's going to go around the side. We've got ourselves a resurrection that's going to happen from one of the sectoids, so they reanimate the avatar, and I'm not sure if that's like technically blasphemous in some way. To me it would seem sort of blasphemous. We've got a dimensional rift from the commander's avatar, which is a perfect time to use it. That will do a lot of damage to all of those troops, as well as make the enemy avatar teleport away, and teleports much closer to us, which is perfect, whilst also enraging a bunch of berserkers in the process. 100% chance to hit then with something, but apparently we're not going to go for that, so that's fine. It's good to go back to the commander's avatar later. Trying to see if I can get myself a flanking shot with Lau, and I definitely do so, although she will be in the open for a little bit. I kind of want to just focus on taking out this avatar, because if I take it out, the game actually ends. Because once you've done all the missions, all the avatars are dead, there's nothing actually helping the link continue. And lucky for us, that's exactly what we're going to do. And we're going to do it with good old McEwen. What she's going to do is use her sexy fanfire to deal 3 shots at the avatar. Would it be enough? Will she miss any of them? Looks like it's all good.
Without the Elder stabilizing the psionic network, everything's going haywire. That gate's not gonna hold much longer.
You heard her! Shen, tell me you've got a plan B here. Nice work.
Wasn't anything on my end. This shouldn't even be possible. Unless...
Commander, whatever it is you're doing, it's working. Just make sure you save enough juice for your own trip home. Commander, you okay? We just lost contact.
What the hell is happening here, Doctor?
It's the Elders. They're overwhelming our link, enveloping the Commander's consciousness.
Then sever the connection!
we do that, we risk a complete overload.
We will reclaim what was given. We will be whole once more. No! Your victory here means the end for all others. It will follow you as it followed us. You are not ready. We must not fail.
Vital stabilizing. Synaptic activity returning to acceptable levels.
And one transdimensional psionic network down for the count.
Mission accomplished, Commander.
20 years. It had taken 2 decades for the heroes of Xcom to finally locate the commander, and in the following months dismantle the occupation of Earth by Advent, through brave heroism and countless daring feats of true legend. It had gone through blunders, yes, and they had to fight through the strongest warriors which the Elders had to offer, but they had done it. Once the message, propagated through the digital web by Ahmed, Fang, and Mises, made its way through to the population, it was inevitable that the truth would lead to rebellion, and rebellion to change. Men and women flocked to the resistance havens, taking arms and joining in the war to overthrow their alien masters. And the biggest shock to the Advent troops on the ground was that those masters were nowhere to be seen. Far below, the calm waves of the Pacific Ocean and a strange complex of psionic energies and gateways, the commanders stood with their troops. McEwen, her trained eye, never failing to wound her target. Loud, fierce in the face of the enemy. Vima, a symbol of a future when the chains are cast off. Kilby, the blade in the dark and the shot from the shadows. Fa'alago, the guardian angel that kept humanity alive. Engen, the proof that humanity can and will adapt to any challenge and overcome any obstacle. Together, they faced off against the rulers of the globe, and together they pit them off, one by one, till only humanity stood, alive and free from the rubble of their alien overlord. The deaths of the millions who had been fallen 20 years ago, and the billions who had been subject to the foul experiments from the invaders, had finally been avenged. And now, together, the people of Earth stand again, and rise ever higher from the ashes of the old world. 20 years ago, the last line of defense had fallen, but from the sacrifice of the brave men and women of Xcom, humanity rose up once more.